then I always had in the back of my mind, my mother used to say to me, what has to be yours will be yours. And I found that as I was going on in my life, that the boys that I met, I was always breaking up with them. I wasn't satisfied. Somehow I was missing something.
Did you always want to become a sister?
No. Although there was that desire for a close relationship with God, but I never thought of it being lived out as a sister. All the sisters were really special, kind of special people. And I loved them very much, but I somehow didn't think that I was material for being one of them. I just wasn't good enough. To me it seemed they had to be very special kind of people to be sisters. However, one day, when I was in grade 9 yet, Sister Bernadette said to me, "You're going to be a sister, aren't you?" And I kind of looked at her, thought, how, me, a sister? And she said, "Yes, it's written all over you that you're going to be a sister." And I thought, wow. And that certainly kept coming to mind a lot. And I said, I didn't think that I would be able to be a sister because, first of all, I liked boys and dances very much. And so I told her, I says, how is that possible? She says, oh, those kind make the best sisters. So it didn't matter that I loved boys and dances so much. But that was always a thought at the back of my mind. Like when she said, you know, it's written all over me. At least it opened up the possibility for me.
Well, there were sisters coming to our town, Northby, all the time. But I never went to for catechism. And there were sisters in Sifton. Apparently there were Latin Rite sisters and Ukrainian sisters. So one time his father, I forget his name, he was coming around and he was, getting girls to enter the Latin Rite sisters. And at that time I was in grade 9. And when he came to the house, my mom wasn't feeling too well, because you must know I'm the oldest right in the family. So I was thinking, I told Father, says, I can't go now because my mother is not feeling well, so I don't think I'll be able to. That was the first time that I think I'll become one someday.
When you were growing up as a young child, did you always want to be a sister?
Not really. My twin sister and I actually kind of talked about it in the same way that everyone else was talking about being a teacher or a nurse. And our mother encouraged us to say it, but I never really kind of took it seriously. Actually, through high school, it stuck with my sister, and she talked about it much more, and I just kind of let go of it altogether. But then it was I that ended up deciding first before she did, and when I did, she had realized that when she was talking about it, it was only talk, and she wasn't really committing herself in the way that I was when I finally did decide.
I sort of think my cousins pulled me in one way, but after all, God was the one that gave me the calling, and I always had the desire to enter the sister servants, no matter what. We had sisters teaching catechism, and they were very happy, and they were teaching us catechism and then singing, and we were playing games, which to my extent I didn't know that they'd run around and play ball and all that. I thought they'd sit more or be more cloistered and pray, which wasn't to my liking. But then I thought to myself, well, if I have to sit in the cloister and pray, well, I'll pray, because I wanted to go to the community.
Did you always want to be a sister when you were growing up?
I was very familiar with the sisters because when I was 7 years old, my older sister entered the convent. So I remember going to visit her in Yorkton, and the sisters would give us candy, and especially chewing gum. We had candy at home, but we didn't have too much chewing gum. So the sisters were very close to us. But I don't remember as a child wanting to be a sister, even though we dressed up in linen and so on. But I don't recall that. until I got to high school that I really seriously thought of being a sister. Also, when I was 14 years old, my brother entered the Redemptorists, so again we were very close to the fathers. And I grew up in a very fine Christian home, and I do not recall ever having heard anything negative about priests or sisters in my home. And so that I did not have to overcome some of these hurdles that come with that. But when I got to high school, especially in my last year, I think that's where my vocation really matured, or probably when I first seriously thought, oh, I could be a sister too.